Hello. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. I'm Liz Anders. This year I'm the chair of Always United. And we are really excited today because we have a program that AAA is doing for us about travel and when we can get back to doing it. So, any of you who know me know that I just love traveling. So, I'm very excited to hear what they have to say. If you're an Always United member, we would appreciate it if you would let us know that by signing in the comment section. You can see that on the upper right hand of the screen. And if you're not, we hope you will join us sometime and come to more Tuesday Talks. I also want to take this opportunity to thank AARP for driver safety for sponsoring this program and others. So now I would like to introduce our activities chair this year, Claudia Brooks, who will get the program rolling.
Hi, Liz. And Liz, I really want to thank you for helping put this program together, because the first person we're going to introduce is somebody I know you have worked with quite a few times. So I am really pleased that we can talk about traveling again. And I know that changes every day. So why don't we welcome Cassie Stallings to our screen today. I'm really pleased that she can be with us. She's with AAA Carolinas and has been working there for 11 years as a travel specialist. And she's actually been in the industry for 13 years. And Cassie has a son who is graduating from the University of South Carolina Honors College this month and will be applying to law school in the fall. Her daughter is a rising junior at Columbia College studying special education. Cassie has traveled with Insight Vacation and the Travel Corporation many times, and she's always willing to help answer any travel questions, no matter how big or small. Cassie, welcome. We're glad to have you today.
Thank you, Claudia.
Yeah, and I know that you work with quite a few companies out there to put travel plans together. And I know they are changing with what you can help people with every day, whether they're going or they're having to cancel. I know you've been doing a really good job at juggling all those balls. So would you like to introduce one of your compatriots?
Yes, I would. So Tracy is with Insight Vacations or the Travel Corporation. He is a wonderful, wonderful spokesman for the company, just wealth of knowledge. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you, Cassie. I appreciate the introduction and I appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone today. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us and to learn a little bit more about what's happening in the world of travel. I just want to say from the beginning, I am not a medical expert. So if anything today, some questions pop up concerning medical questions and issues with travel, we know that's been the elephant in the room for the past year or so, but we will talk about what's happening with vaccines and that kind of thing and what areas of the world are opening up. So instead of looking at me the whole time here, I would like to share my screen and give everyone a opportunity to see my presentation. So give me just a moment and we'll get started with that and we will go from there. Let's see. All right. You should be able to see my presentation popping up here today. Again, thanks again for this opportunity. AAA is one of the travel corporations, if not the largest client that we work with. And many of you might be aware that AAA is by far the best planner of travel in the country. They do more than just automotive services, obviously, and do a wonderful job. Just a little bit more about me. I've been with the Travel Corporation for a few years now, but I started back in 1991 as a skinny little guy right out of college as a tour director for a small operator here in Western North Carolina. I do live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and I am a Carolina native. As a matter of fact, my brother attended the University of South Carolina, but I won't admit that my son is a freshman or a first-year student at the University of Alabama. The SEC competition there. It's a little tough, but I do have two children, Jada, who's a grad student in Virginia studying psychology, getting her PhD in psychology, and Landon, who's at the University of Alabama getting his degree in computer science and electrical engineering down there. And my lovely wife, Deborah, of 28 years, she's a hospice nurse here in the Charlotte region. So some of my favorite places to travel include the ancient civilizations like Greece and Egypt and Peru. We'll talk about some of those places today, but just briefly to give you an introduction to who we are as a company, to give you a little bit more of an understanding of the breadth of what the Travel Corporation is. We're probably the largest family-owned company you've never heard of. These brands are all under the Travel Corporation family. And we do say we are a family because the Tolman family actually still owns the Travel Corp and all of these different brands. And you'll get to meet them maybe at the end of my presentation today. But we're really going to talk about two of these brands today and kind of what those brands mean for travel moving forward this year. This will not be a sales presentation. This is really just an information session for you, but it's geared around guided vacations. The Velvet Collection is 5 of the luxury and premium brands under the Travel Corporation, and Insight Vacations and Luxury Gold are those 2 guided vacation companies there. This screenshot I actually took just this morning. These are the areas that are open right now for travel. If you see the bright green, that is open with no COVID testing or no quarantine required. There's only a couple of places you see there on the map. Testing with travel, that means they're open for travel with the required COVID-19 testing. That's that lighter green. And we do see a good bit of that in South America and in Africa right now. A few other countries moving that direction in Eastern Europe and along the Baltics. And then still a large majority of the world is restricted at this point. But we do hope and believe that that is changing and should be changing rapidly. We know there's still pockets of the virus, especially in India right now. They're having a very difficult time. But we do believe that with the vaccine becoming more readily available, hopefully places like Canada and Spain and Portugal and France and Germany and Italy, of course, the UK and the Netherlands and those areas will definitely be opening up sooner rather than later. And we really like to think positively about that. I want to talk about guided vacations, though, for folks, just to understand, if you've never been on a guided holiday, what might be some good reasons to choose to do that, especially in today's climate of concern about traveling with the COVID vaccine and the COVID virus still out there. But one reason we like to say to go guided is that we're always in the know. You have someone with you at all times who's going to take care of your needs. That's that travel director who's a local, a lot of times the person that knows exactly what's happening in the destination where you are. We also have a well-being director, which is something I'll talk a little bit more about with our companies, is someone who's taking care of all your questions and concerns around just your well-being as you travel. We also have some wonderful partners, just like AAA being an amazing partner. Our hotels and our restaurants and our attractions have been partners with us for nearly 50 years now as part of the Travel Corporation. So we do work closely with some great partners, and they are in the local area as well. You're in somewhat of a protected bubble. We do ask that our guests complete a pre-travel declaration, which talks about either being tested within 72 hours or being vaccinated to be able to prove that they're COVID-free, of course, before they travel with us. And so we know from beginning to end, you are somewhat protected that way. You can keep your distance even within a small group of traveling folks. We will make sure that is the possibility as you go, no matter what you might be doing. As you see here on the Felucca here on the Nile River in Egypt, we got plenty of space for our folks to spread out and to get their own social distancing. We have some wonderful, unique experiences that are just unique to guided vacations that our company puts together for our guests. And last but not least, probably the most important reason to go guided is that you can relax. You can let someone else take care of all the details and basically just enjoy the amazing scenery. And actually the scenery in this photograph is of the Croatian coast, the beautiful Adriatic Sea here. And that's one destination we will talk a little bit more about later on, because it is actually open for travelers internationally to come visit. Want to touch again on this well-being director. I think it's important for folks when they travel internationally to have someone that they can go to make sure that all the protocols are being met, no matter where it might happen to be. in the world. Even in the U.S., we are offering a well-being director to travel along with our small groups, just to keep people's peace of mind, at the forefront. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to travel internationally, just make sure you've got someone that's traveling with you that can really let you know what's happening, even here in the U.S., because each state, has their different restrictions and protocols and things like that. Insight Vacations is our premium guided vacation brand under the Travel Corporation. Our little tagline is all the sights and the insights, up close and personal, in comfort and style. And just to give you an example of some of how that operates with us, in Croatia here, we get to meet an oyster farmer. You get to spend some time getting to know him personally. You even get to have the oysters shucked for you right there and enjoy those directly from the Adriatic Sea. When we visit Rome, we go behind the scenes to the Vatican and have a VIP entry there. When we're here in the U.S., we'll talk a little bit more about this part of the world in a few minutes. We get to get face-to-face with Crazy Horse out here at the amazing Crazy Horse Memorial in Rapid City, South Dakota. We're the only tour operator that will take you right up on the arm of Crazy Horse if you've seen it from a distance. And when we're in Dublin, Ireland, we get an insider to take us behind the scenes, Dr. Joseph Gorman, who was a student and is currently a professor there. So we really want to make it a very personal and up-close experience, even though you're traveling with a small group of folks with you from all around the world. We also do dine around evenings in different places around the world where you might happen to get to choose from different restaurants. I do have to say one of the best Italian meals I've ever had was actually in Krakow, Poland. I know that sounds unusual, but on one of our journeys there, I had a chance to have an international option there and do a dine around evening. And we got to enjoy Italian food in Poland as well. The other thing that we like to do is give folks plenty of space. And this is what I like to say. We were social distancing before it was a common thing with Insight Vacations. We were allowing folks to have more room because we take seats off of our motor coaches. When you travel with a guided vacation group, you do have to travel as a group. And we actually take the 53 seaters and have 13 seats removed. So we customize motor coaches to give folks plenty of space. But I want to talk just briefly about what destinations you might want to consider and some places you might want to look at, even for travel later on this year and definitely into 21 and 22. And that, of course, being the U.S. and even Latin America a little bit as well. We have 20 different journeys here throughout the U.S. and Canada. Canada is still a little bit tough right now. They're not quite opened up yet, but they are distributing the vaccine as quickly as possible, and we're happy about that. This little video, though, will give you just a quick introduction to some of the amazing destinations here in our part of the world, in the Western Hemisphere, with Insight Vacations. I don't know about you, but just seeing some of these images gets my, juices flowing again to get back out and travel. I have to admit, the past 13, 14 months now has been the longest stretch in the last several years that I haven't left my home. My passport is sent out an APB asking if I've gotten lost. So we definitely are ready to get back out on the road. And we encourage folks to look at traveling here within the U.S. this year if you want to go. Now, this is a long journey out west, 23 days. But if you have almost a month of time and you want to see basically everything there is to see and do, from the Grand Canyon to Custer State Park to Yellowstone National, you can do a nice 23-day journey, Grand Journey of America's West. You can do a 15-day trip that takes in about half of what you just saw. But I like to just talk briefly about more realistic type journeys for people. And that's an 8-day trip out to see the American Parks Trail, which is a wonderful way to see some of the more northern portion of our national parks. This one will start in Jackson, Wyoming, spend a couple of nights in Yellowstone, work its way over to Rapid City, South Dakota, and Custer State Park before flying back out to Denver. Just a few of the highlights of this particular journey. Of course, Yellowstone is incredible. I think every American should see the natural beauty of Yellowstone National Park. And we do stay in the park, try to investigate that when you're looking at groups that will take you to Yellowstone. It is a big, big park. It's awesome to stay inside the park so you don't waste time getting there and leaving. Of course, Cross Ranch is incredible with some free time and horseback riding. Deadwood, South Dakota, with Wild West features figures like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. Even Kevin Costner has a great original Deadwood tour there, from his time making the movie Dances with Wolves, 25 years ago or more now. So a great part of the world is America's West. And this is what I was mentioning just earlier, standing face to face with Crazy Horse, the legend there in Rapid City, South Dakota. What a great way to get to know our Native American heritage in this country with visiting this part of the West. But if you'd like to see more of the southern part of our national parks, maybe the wonders of the American West, a nice little 10-day journey that will start in Las Vegas and loop all the way back around and finish up in Vegas. This one does include the Grand Canyon National Park. If you've never seen the Grand Canyon, it's much like Yellowstone. It is a must-see, must-do for Americans. Oh, this slide always slips by quickly. This gentleman in the photograph is a guy named Canyon Dave in the hat there. And the gentleman on the far right with the bald head is a good friend of mine named Chris Brady. Chris, I got to experience Canyon Dave's expertise just a couple of years ago prior to COVID, and he could not rave enough about how much this guy knows about the history and the ecology of the Grand Canyon. And that's what it's really important to do, is find those meaningful interactions when you travel. Find the people who know, who are the experts about the destination that you travel to. So Chris cannot talk enough about Canyon Dave and his experience with him there. This wonderful journey does almost all the top list of national parks: Arches National Park, Bryce Canyon, Canyonlands National Park, Capitol Reef, Zion, Mesa Verde. I mean, these are all the highest rated national parks in this part of the Southwest. So if you'd like to see these in just a little quick 10-day journey out there, check that out too, and talk to your AAA travel advisor like Miss Cassie, because she is wonderful. But maybe you want to wait till fall of the year and see some fall foliage. A wonderful part of the country to travel to would be New England, of course, and we feel like things are opening up very well in this part of the world as well. This trip is in and out of Boston. Spend some time in Western Massachusetts before making its way up through Vermont. And if you've ever seen The Sound of Music, you know the Von Trapp family. Well, they have a wonderful lodge, actually the same family you see in The Sound of Music, or depicted in The Sound of Music, owned and operated the lodge in Stowe, Vermont, and we stay there. It is incredible, beautiful scenery, and you'll get to hear the real story of Maria and the Baron. This one also does the Montpelier, of course, the maple sugar works there, the capital of Vermont. And one of my highlights is the Kancamagus Highway, a beautiful 35-mile stretch of road, which is unspoiled, just natural beauty, and the fall foliage is incredible in this part of the world. I could talk all day about some of these places, but we need to keep moving on. And I want to touch briefly on South America. Maybe you've been interested in doing something internationally. Europe is a little slow opening up. And it looks like Peru is doing a very good job of opening up somewhat quickly. They have a few less restrictions at this point. And I had an opportunity a couple of years to travel to Peru. Now, the one thing I like about South America is there's no jet lag. It's basically on the same time frame, or 1 hour off from us here to a lot of parts of South America. And the little flight from maybe Atlanta to Lima was about 6 hours or so. It's not that bad to travel to the Southern Hemisphere. This was my walking in experience at Machu Picchu. I actually shot this on my own iPhone that I still carry today. It is an incredible opening visit here when you walk in early in the morning. The Incas, I'm sorry, their amazing use of the rock and the formations here. We don't know a lot of history about this village or town because it was abandoned suddenly. But we do believe it was maybe a resort for some of the royalty of the Inca way back in, of course, the 15th century. So really incredible history and scenery. The Andes Mountains are stunning. And of course, Machu Picchu is just incredible. So love to talk to you more about traveling to Peru. This is a chance you get to take a little hike up to the Sun Gate and look down. Now, this is only about halfway, the photograph you see on the right. The Sun Gate is about 1,000 feet above the 6,000 foot elevation of, or 7,000 foot elevation of Machu Picchu. I want to talk too about another part of the world that's opening up fairly quickly, and that's Croatia. We've introduced a women's only journey. And this might pique some interest for those of you who want to travel with other like-minded ladies. A woman's only journey to the Croatian coastline in the summer of next year. We'll have at least 2 different departures, one in June and one in September, and I think the June date has almost sold out. Celine Cousteau, Jacques Cousteau's granddaughter, will be traveling with our folks on the June departure. If you want to see the beautiful Dalmatian coast of Croatia, it is incredible. This trip will start in Venice, which of course is an amazing city to start with a couple of nights stay there, make its way through Slovenia, over into Croatia, down a quick journey through Bosnia, and finish up down here in Dubrovnik. And I have to tell you, my experience in Dubrovnik a couple of years ago was incredible. I would recommend this part of the world to anyone. The beautiful Adriatic Sea is just incredible. I could talk for days about this part of the world. So if you're interested in that, talk to your travel advisor. And Croatia is opening up quicker than some other parts of Europe at this point. Also, too, just want to throw out there, we have some domestic escapes that are coming up that are things we don't typically run through the winter time or other parts of the year, but Alaska is becoming very popular, and Hawaii. If you want to go to Hawaii, maybe over January, February, March timeframe, a nice little 7-day journey, which is something we haven't offered in the past. And so these wonderful areas are open for some other domestic escapes. I want to actually change gears real quickly, though, and go into a more luxurious level of guided vacation, and that is called Luxury Gold. This type of experience is really at a VIP level. You've got, less than 20 to 24 people on these journeys. We do behind the scenes excursions. We use these beautiful hotels called Red Carnation. This one here on the left is the Ashford Castle in Ireland. Oh my goodness, if you want to stay in a castle, check out that journey to Ireland and enjoy that. We spent some wonderful time having great food on this journey. Almost everyone in Europe will be a Michelin star dining experience, which if you've never had a Michelin experience, you need to experience that once in your life. We do Egypt. We do all over the world with this worldwide collection. We have a well-being director traveling with you here as well. And the traveling concierge. I have to tell you a quick story. I actually went to Peru with Luxury Gold, and our traveling concierge was Roberto. He asked us when we arrived, is there anything I can do special for you and your wife? And I said, we just want to buy our daughter a ring because she likes to collect rings from different parts of the world. Very inexpensive, less than $200, nothing really expensive. Near the end of the trip, though, we thought he had forgotten about purchasing this ring because we had our last dinner and everything was closing. And he comes to us and said, are you ready to go purchase the ring for your daughter? And we said, Roberto, I think all the gift shops are closed. He says, we're not going to a gift shop. We're going to a silversmith, a friend of mine, who actually makes jewelry for Cameron Diaz and Olivia Newton-John. And I said, Roberto, we can't afford that kind of jewelry. He said, he knows what your budget is. So that's exactly what a traveling concierge does. They take you to that next level of experience. A great journey with Luxury Gold this year, or later on this year, is out to Colorado and New Mexico, the resorts and ranches out there. If you've ever heard of Ted Turner's Bermejo Park Ranch, it's a beautiful ranch there, 600,000 acres, nature reserve. This is the Casa Grande there on that particular piece of land. It is stunning. 3-night stay there. This one also includes Colorado Springs and Manitow Springs and Taos Pueblo. I mean, just really some great highlights on this little journey out west. So if you want to elevate a guided vacation experience, you can definitely check that out. These are just the restaurants at the Broadmoor, is where we stay in Colorado Springs. So just touching base on some of these wonderful journeys that can take you out west as well. And just a quick roundup for you today: is a guided vacation something you should consider? We think possibly now it would be. And if you're considering traveling even anywhere in the world, try to find a company that is committed to your well-being, that is taking care of all those protocols, that has a well-being director, that is really going above and beyond. That's the biggest recommendation I can offer to you right now. Look for folks that are offering some good promotions for you as well. There's all kind of activities out there for people to save some money. I will say that travel will not necessarily be cheaper in the future, because there are all kinds of protocols out there for different folks that they have to meet that will make travel more expensive in certain places. Even though it's been a tough year for travel, we do believe it's going to bounce back quickly, and there will be a lot of demand. Our wonderful partner at AAA, the members there get some great benefits when they travel with us. I won't, go into a sales pitch on that, but if you're interested in finding out more, definitely talk to the professionals at AAA. Just remember, when you travel, there's no request too large, no detail too small. And our chairman, Mr. Tolman, right here, this is his beautiful wife, Beatrice, and our chairman, Stanley Tolman. His famous quote is, "Never shirk a journey," which basically means when you get a chance to go, go. And we really hope that this coming year, this late summer and into the fall, we will have that opportunity to travel and see the world. So with that, I just want to wrap up this quick introduction to some possible destinations for you, but also open it up to questions if folks have questions here. And I will stop sharing my screen.
Well, and Tracy, thank you for all that wonderful information. We are asking for things in the chat box, but some of the things that have come up with people who have let us know ahead of time was really about the best ways to check on the COVID recommendations for that. Is there a particular place you would suggest that they go look?
Yes.
Do you provide that information?
Actually, I would recommend talking to a travel professional like Miss Cassie.
Let me bring Cassie back on here too.
Yeah, there's also a good website called Sherpa, SHERPA, and that actually has a map of the world showing you what the restrictions are in different places, so that if you're interested in traveling to a particular country, you can actually look up that country and see what their restrictions are, and that's updated continuously. But really, if you want to find out what the airlift is like and schedules and things like that, I would talk to someone like Cassie. There was a time, 20 years ago, we thought that we wouldn't need travel agents anymore because everything would be done online. If COVID has taught us anything, it's that people like Cassie are invaluable in planning your vacation. So I would recommend talking to her. Cassie, what other advice would you give?
So we do have a map that gives state by state, and then we do have a world map that we can check the regulations.
Okay. And I do know that the CDC also has a lot of recommendations and also, restrictions or things to do as you travel. And that was a question that came up about traveling. If you're going to be traveling on an airplane, what would be the process now as you're getting on that plane and going through the turnstiles and things? Can you give us some suggestions there?
Okay, for domestic, there's really not anything yet. You do have to wear your mask, but they're not asking for COVID testing or anything. But you do have to wear your mask. For international, it just depends. for people traveling internationally, they do have to have the COVID test.
Okay.
Hey, Cassie, pull down your mouthpiece there. So we
Thank
can hear
you.
you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. There
There you
you
go.
go.
So for international, there are some places that do require the COVID testing.
Okay. And are you generally seeing that the airlines are cleaning those airplanes between flights? How,
Yes.
if you're sitting on that plane, wear your mask? Stay?
You are still required to wear your mask by law. But yes,
Okay.
they have gone to a safety measure that is well beyond anything I can explain for cleaning.
Okay.
I'll say
We-
this too: the airlines, the cabin filtration system within the airline is very good. That's something that's been studied extensively this past year, and so that is if that's a concern, they do rotate the air, just like even on the motor coaches and things like that with guided vacation. So that is an important consideration as well.
Okay. And we did have a question from Samuel. Is there anything new concerning applying for U.S. passport? Turnaround times or extra costs?
Turnaround times, we're seeing 2 months right now, sometimes 3. It just depends. But there isn't anything new with applying for a passport. We are seeing some lag times.
Okay.
And I'll say that was the case even prior to COVID. There was a lot of folks applying for passports even prior to COVID hitting. So it was taking 60 to 90 days even prior. Hopefully, as people are coming back into work, into offices and things like that, that will start to shorten up. But we're dealing with the federal government agency, so we don't know how quickly that will take effect.
And then Cindy asked, are travel agencies requiring vaccines for all travelers in a group?
Not necessarily. It depends on the company. Some companies are requiring the vaccine and some are not.
Okay, so that would be a question that somebody booking travel should ask.
Right, and we would go over that in the process.
Okay. What are some of the things that you do go over with your clients when they are planning a trip?
As I say, there's no question too big or too small. I go over safety risks, where they're traveling, any travel requirements, level of. Tracy, help me out here.
Yeah.
We have different tours on different. We have tours that have different fitness levels, so to speak.
We definitely need to ask folks what their comfort level is with walking and with their fitness level and that kind of thing. That's a concern even pre-COVID, post-COVID, is that oftentimes people will not understand that there's not ADA requirements in certain parts of the world like there are in the U.S. So if you do have mobility issues, it's important to go over that with your travel advisor to find out if the hotel you're using in Hungary has an elevator or all steps, that kind of thing. So just going through each detail and getting as much information about each part of that vacation is important to do.
We just want to qualify. We want to qualify and make sure this is the right trip for you.
Okay. And let's see, Liz is asking, how do you show your proof of vaccination if you are being asked for that?
That is a evolving situation right now. Right now you will show your passport, your vaccine card, but there is talk of a vaccine passport that's going to be released coming out.
Okay. Now kind of changing to, say we've got a group of people and we've talked about the group travel, but if you wanted to just take a trip to yourself and in your car,
right.
I love, I'll just do a semi-commercial here, but it's very nice to be able to go online and look up short trips. I go do things with my grandchildren. And so you've got some pamphlets on there, say about South Carolina. There's a really neat one about things in South Carolina. How do you talk to people about kind of researching their own vacation and some suggestions that they might take as they go along and building that? I know talking to you is one thing, but
talking to me, then we also have the tour books and maps. We have tour books for every single United States. And then we have various maps, and we can help map out the trip.
Okay. So
our tour books have restaurants, hotels, things of interest.
Things of interest that way. It's real good. And Liz, I'm giving you a heads up. We're going to bring you back on because you've taken trips
Yes.
with them, and maybe you've got some specific questions and things you can talk about that how they helped make those trips wonderful.
Well, they help make those cancellations not bad. I was telling people the other day that I would book a trip with Cassie, then they cancel it. Well, I'd book it, and then we pay, and then they cancel it, and then Cassie gets the money back, and then I try again. So over and over, like I had like 4 things canceled, but I'm very optimistic that I will be going to Scandinavia in August because I think things are opening up. I'm a little curious about, this is on a cruise. I'm a little curious about the capacity because they say in the literature they're going to cut down on capacity so that people can be a little further apart. I think some of the companies are then requiring people also to use their excursions so that they can keep people in a more protective bubble, that sort of thing. And I'm wondering if all the countries, I guess all the countries on the cruise will be open, or they would tell you and maybe give you a chance to back out if you didn't want to, if you were upset about skipping a particular location. So are there any new developments in the cruise industry that you would like to tell us about?
So cruising is still at about 50% capacity. And as far as backing out, I'm hoping that we'll know before so that you can back out. That's just an ongoing situation right now.
I'll say this too, Kathy, from our perspective, we're going to over-communicate to the guests. If there are things that are different than what they might have assumed when they purchased the experience, our company will let you know well in advance that this might not be available due to COVID restrictions and give you the option to, either rebook or change your dates or something like that. I think that will be the case with the cruise lines as well. They'll be extra cautious to let you know what's going on.
Well,
and I would like to say that I agree with Tracy. It's really good to go on guided vacations. I've done guided vacations or just vacations where we had a car with a driver. But if you don't know where you are and you don't know anything about the place, my husband, if he was driving, would miss the whole experience, plus he'd be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
So he's happier if he's in a bus or a car where somebody else is doing the driving and taking us to the door and picking us up again at the door so you don't have to walk or worry about parking. I mean, it's a lot of advantages. And I found that you meet a lot of interesting people when you go on a guided tour.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't point out is that we're an international company and about 40% of our guests are Australia or New Zealand. And so if you've ever traveled with the Kiwis or the Aussies, they are entertainment by themselves. They are a lot of fun. So we hope that those countries will open up for their guests to be able to travel outside of their country soon because they are severely locked down right now, both of those parts of the world.
Well, we thank both you, Tracy and Cassie, for coming in and talking to us about traveling. I know we're all really want to get out there. And I think your information is good. And it tells us, there are ways to travel safely now. And if, you can travel yourself, stay in the country, find some good places, just do your homework. And we're glad we have people like you who can help us do that homework. So thank you so much. Any last words you want to leave with our viewers?
I would like to do something. I want before I started using Cassie, there was something I didn't know, and a lot of people might not know this. If you think, well, I'll just do this all myself, it's easier. You find out if you use a travel agency, lots of times your travel agent will be able to get you extra benefits for the exact same price that you would pay if you booked it yourself. So it actually saves you money as well as time. And
absolutely. We offer benefits to AAA members that we do not offer to a regular traveler. So for us, 98% of our bookings come through travel professionals like Cassie, and that's the way we like it. So very good point, Liz.
Okay. Anything else? Again, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure you have, if you would like to get information from them, you can email Adina at alwaysunited@ua.org, and she'll pass that along. your information along, or I don't know if she's got it on the screen, but we will look. But thank you again for being with us today. We look forward to travels, many travels ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, yes, I guess we're going to bring Debbie on, are we?
Well, and are we going to talk about our next ones and then bring Debbie over?
Yeah. Let's talk about our next Tuesday talk.
Our next Tuesday talk. And Adina, do you have a slide for us? There we go.
Good. Okay.
Yes. We have something special coming up on May 11th. It's not going to be a streaming program like this. It's going to actually be a Zoom call and video talk. We're going to talk about our Tocqueville program at United Way. So Maria DeHart is putting that together, and the information will be sent to you and online. And then on May, and Debbie's coming on to talk about our United Way annual meeting, so she will do that. And then on Tuesday, June the 8th, Ray Tanner, who is with the University of South Carolina Sports, he's head of all of that. He's going to be talking about University of South Carolina athletics, the connection that we have with United Way has with the university, and what our athletes do in the community. So that should be a really interesting talk, and we're looking forward to that. So, and I see Debbie's on, so I will turn this over to you and Debbie, Liz.
Thank you very much, Claudia. See you soon. Yeah, we're going to have a really special meeting. Debbie has gone to a lot of work to organize this, and I'm going to let her talk about it. It's our annual member meeting. Go to it, Debbie.
Thanks, Liz. We have a great membership and communications committee that has been working with Adina on this. And so I'm excited to tell you about our membership meeting. It's going to be Always United, Explore the Possibilities, May 20th at 11 o'clock. And if you are a new Always United member, I think it's going to give you a great opportunity to learn more about what we do and the opportunities that you have as a member of Always United. And if you're one of our ongoing members, notice I didn't say old members, ongoing members, I think you'll find it really affirming of the kinds of things we do, and there'll be opportunities for you to learn some new things too. For everyone, there are going to be some breakout opportunities where you can choose what you want to hear more about. Sarah Fawcett will be joining us and do an update on the United Way of the Midlands and the exciting things that are happening with that organization. And then last but not least, a lot of great door prizes are going to be offered. So that's a little added bonus to say thank you for being a member of Always United, and wish you good luck with that part. But I do have to say, this whole presentation has really whet my appetite for travel, and what a timely presentation. So thanks for this Tuesday talk.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to this annual meeting. Now, if you're not a member yet, doesn't cost anything to belong. What we really are hoping to do is to get people that at or near retirement age to stay involved in their community after they retire. It's a time when you may have more time to give to volunteer opportunities and that sort of thing. So if you would like to find out more about Always United, just go to alwaysunited@uway.org, and you can find out more about it and how you can join. We've had a lot of fun there. I think it's been a wonderful experience for me being involved with it. I've made loads of friends, people who really care about our community. And so please try to join us as a member. I guess that's all. We'll see you in a few weeks at the next Tuesday talk. Or if you can, go to the Tocqueville meeting, which is, I believe, on May 11th.